Welcome to Sound and Fury. I am Eric Wilfred Watson.
And I'm Radical Hugh, or regular Hugh. I'm Hugh. I'm some shade of Hugh, of Frank.
Today we're going to talk about 50 Shades of Hugh Frank.
Yes.
No, we are not. No, we are not.
Well, we'll talk about the first 27.
Actually, we're going to talk about a cartoon that I never watched that was adapted into a TV show that I never watched, which you told me that I should watch, which I watched. And now that I've watched it, I'm going to talk about it a little bit.
Yes. Watch, rinse, repeat.
And of course, we're discussing Cowboy Bebop.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about Cowboy Bebop? Because I only learned of its existence yesterday.
Wow. Well, that's unfortunate. So Cowboy Bebop is an anime from back in the, God, I think I watched it in maybe the early 2000s. I think it dates back all the way to the 80s. And there's like 9,027 different animes out there. I don't know exactly, but it's over 9,000. And there's a handful that I've been able to really follow and fall in love with. And one of them is Cowboy Bebop. If you haven't seen the original anime, watch that first.
Don't. I mean, yes, watch that first, I guess.
Definitely watch that first. Get a little glimpse of it. And what I'm really curious about is your take on it, being that you hadn't heard of it before. There's some good press, there's some bad press about this show, but it follows a crew of bounty hunters that are known as cowboys. The ship is called the Bebop, hence Cowboy Bebop. Kind of like the reason that Firefly was because it was a Firefly class ship. So it's more or less named after the ship of the people that are on it. There's Spike and Jet Black are the main characters, and they have their own history. And of course, one was in law enforcement, the other one not so much. And so their person clash, but they don't. And so this has been adapted to a live action, and it really follows.
I stopped paying attention like 30 seconds ago.
Jerk. It really follows. It doesn't follow the anime story so much. There are elements of it that are very similar to what's in the anime, but it's not a predictable. If you've seen the Cowboy Bebop anime, it's not going to be okay. Well, this is the scene where this happens.
It's not a shot-for-shot remake.
Not a shot-for-shot remake. And subtle spoiler alert. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but the end does not end the way that the Cowboy Bebop anime series does. I don't remember.
So you did watch the whole first season?
Did watch the whole first season. Yeah, binge watched that bitch, and I couldn't stop. It's just amazing.
I could.
Yes. So anyway, I'll pause for a moment to get to your take on it, because I'm coming from I fell in love with this anime. I hadn't seen it in a long time. I think I bought the whole series. I had seen some of it in the early 2000s.
Laserdisc.
I bought it on the Laserdisc. I bought that and watched it somewhere between 2007 and 2010, and haven't seen it since. So there's a lot of stuff that's a little foggy, but I remember some very key elements. But anyway, go.
May I go now?
You told me that your hook to get me to actually watch it was that it was similar to Firefly. It's a space western. I'm like, okay, what the hell? I'll give it a go.
Yes.
And queued it up, and so there's these guys that are robbing a casino or whatnot, and Sulu shows up and murders the shit out of them. And then there's a hole in space, and they go and collect their bounty, but it's not as much money as they thought. And I'm like, okay, I can see where this is going. It's anti-hero sort of thing. These aren't exactly heroic characters. They're, scum and villainy.
Right.
But aesthetically it was interesting. I got a kick out of the roulette wheel space station thing. It kind of reminded me of Quarks in Deep Space Nine.
Star Trek reference? What are we, 30 seconds in?
But one thing, I just didn't quite get the setting of it. Maybe I just need to watch more of it, but it took me a while to figure out if, I mean, obviously it's the future, it's spaceships and whatnot, but when they go to New Tijuana and they have like 1957 Fords, you know, I'm like, what the crap did they ship those across the galaxy? Why would there be like old fashioned gasoline classic cars that are rusted out and shitty? Did they build them at this new planet, or did they transport them over there? I saw like a old fashioned Macintosh on somebody's desk.
Yeah,
and like a regular old box PC with a box monitor. I'm like, okay, so I guess they're going for the retro futuristic feel, because it makes no sense that they would actually bring a 1994 PC to whatever fucking planet that was.
Right.
Language.
It's an interesting show. I got a kick out of the second episode where they have the shootout at the fight in the bathroom of the wedding. It's entertaining. It's interesting to look at, but I'm not sure I like it. It's aesthetically odd, and I'm not quite sure if I like the odd look of the show. I'm not really feeling it, and the characters seem a little bit flat, although I'm guessing it seems like there's a lot more going on with the Hikaru Sulu character, where he was actually part of the syndicate and he doesn't want his partner to know, I guess. That's sort of where I left off.
Right.
But it looks like it has potential. I'm just not quite sure where it's going to go. I want to understand the setting more. I want to know more about the universe that they live in, other than the fact that they have old cars on other planets, which makes no sense.
Right.
It does not make sense.
Well, a little bit more about that, and I think that's one of the if you liked the anime, that aesthetic that goes along with it really, it is so much the same, because it's from the 90s, and their idea of what the future looked like was, okay, well, here's a Macintosh now, it must look the same 150 years from now. So they've got that, and then of course everybody's got like their cell phones all look the same, and etc. But as far as the setting goes, it's still just the known solar system, which is interesting. Of all the science fiction,
when they're showing that like ring gate thing where they're traveling, I didn't know if that was supposed to be like some sort of Stargate thing where they're jumping to another solar system, because they just talk about they're going to New Tijuana. I'm like, well, where's that? Is that
right?
Is that 6,000 light years away, or is that like a moon of Jupiter? They don't say.
Yeah, it's on.
I have a feeling I'm supposed to know that already, and they haven't told me, and I don't know because I didn't watch the original cartoon.
No, they don't really give that away.
Give it away now.
So, but it's just up and down the same solar system. They talk about actual moons, so they'll go to like Titan or Europa or all these things, and basically, as far as I know, we haven't left the solar system in this future. It is I don't know how far out into the solar system we've gone, but we've terraformed like all of the planets and all of the moons, or many of the moons or stuff. And then Earth, they hint that something bad happened to Earth, and it was like a solar gate explosion or a stellar gate explosion or something. So basically Earth has been leveled. So the original that Earth that was, as they call it in Firefly, it's not a place where nobody's ever been, the way it's they like a myth of vanishing into legend, like the way it is in Firefly, and some where at one point they go back to Earth. It's still there, just nobody lives there. But the I think what that jump thing does is just propels you out further into the solar system and back. So there's like,
so they're not going faster than light. It's within the realm of scientific possibility of what we know now. They just bring old broken cars with them.
Yeah. Well,
and I get the concept of like modern Star Wars movies still show like green screen computers that existed in the 70s, because that was established as what computers look like in the Star Wars universe.
Right.
But and I get that, but not knowing that going in, that's supposed to be like a retro futuristic thing, it just looks weird.
Yeah, and you have to kind of,
it's not retro enough. Like if it was like a 50s retro sci-fi thing where they have like rocket ships that look like they're from the cover of some Asimov science fiction magazine, but it's like just not, it's not quite far enough in the past where retro seems appropriate for a future setting, I guess.
Yeah. Well, one of the impressions that I get is you're supposed to really get the feeling that um, people that are planet bound have less than the people that are jumping from planet to planet. So, you know, the spaceships are new and futuristic and cool, and you know, they look like they're from the future, and all the tech. We never really see any big cities, and probably everything in the big cities look like Coruscant or whatever the Foundation planet is, and we never really see that to say for sure what, you know, the big fancy cities look like and what those vehicles look like. At one point you see somebody fueling up their vehicle and they leave in a hurry, and they just leave the fuel dumping all over the ground, and it's brown. It's like brown sewer water. So whatever that
Maybe
is,
they're emptying out the toilets.
well, no, they were filling up their tank.
All
But
right.
it implies that they're using a fuel that isn't gasoline. I think they still call it gas, but
If we
you know,
replace gasoline with a different fuel, and it was something, people still talk about gassing up their Teslas.
yeah, exactly. And if you punch the accelerator, you're hitting the gas. If you're driving a diesel vehicle, you hit the gas. Well, there's
We
no
rewind
gas
cell phone
because
videos.
We rewind cell phone. Exactly. We tape stuff onto a DVR. Yeah. So there's always going to be that kind of terminology. So that part kind of makes sense.
No, it's okay. I don't think I would ever watch it if it wasn't for you telling me that it was okay to watch.
Yeah.
I'll give it another couple episodes, but unless it does something more interesting soon, I'm probably going to give up. I'm going to nope right out of this thing, but I'll give it a little bit more of a chance because I do like. I always said that if it has spaceships blowing up, I'll watch it, and I did see spaceships blowing up, so I will continue to watch.
There you go. Have you met
That's
Faye
about
Valentine
as far as
yet?
I can say. What's that?
Have you met Faye Valentine yet?
I don't think so. Maybe.
Okay.
Ooh,
She's
who's that?
Faye Valentine is another hunter, another cowboy,
Oh, is she the one with like bluish purple hair
purple hair.
that they lock in the
Yes.
bathroom?
Yes.
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 Yeah,
So
she was in the second episode.
Yeah, the dynamic with her makes it a lot more fun. So as they add more characters, and
She was
then
my favorite character so far because she's actually like kind of sarcastic to them and actually seems to have a personality. The John Cho character, if I'm saying his name correctly, he just doesn't
Like-
seem to have a personality in this other than he likes to shoot people and get money.
yeah, and that's kind of how he was in the anime. And
The
and
action
that's
sequences don't do much for me either. They seem overly choreographed, like Kill Bill, but not as good. And it just doesn't. Yeah, don't get excited watching it. I'm sorry, it doesn't really do it for me. But
yeah.
I like the retro futuristic feel, even though it's a little bit jarring. I think I can see that growing on me. But I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a
Yeah.
fair shot. I'm a science fiction fan. So I will definitely keep watching at least for a little while longer. Maybe we can
No.
do Eric watches the rest of this damn thing video in the near future.
There
We'll
you go.
see.
There you go. And that's the cure. That was the thing that I'm the most curious about is folks that haven't seen the anime and maybe haven't watched much anime because although it
I
isn't a
hate
shot.
anime. I really detest anime.
Well, you
I
hate
don't like-
everything, so
well, that's true, but I hate the animation style. I don't like the gigantic eyes, tiny little mouth and nose that disappears if they turn their head slightly. The the unnecessary breathing. Like,
well, there's different versions of anime.
flying in a pose with the background moving behind it.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's different versions of anime, but yeah, that's
Tentacle porn.
there is that I've heard.
I've seen.
That reminds me, I got to clean my browser. But anyway, so so if you are a fan, if for a person that is a fan and you haven't seen this yet, a lot of the anime elements are in it. It's not a shot for shot reproduction of the show, but you have like for example, Spike Spiegel has a very characteristic silhouette. The way he walks along, tall and lean, and has his hands in his pockets. And even though, is it John Cho? Is that the actor's name? John Cho's a little shorter and a little wider.
He's also a human being, so he has that disadvantage.
He's also a human being, so he does it right. He can't really look like a yeah, a stretched out version of himself, but with the right camera angles and the frame, like the way they have their, aim the camera at him and stuff. He has that Spike Spiegel lean silhouette kind of look to him, and that and they smoke in this show, which is kind of refreshing. Not that I'm an advocate of smoking, but
hey kids,
like,
smoking is good for you.
but it's refreshing that they were brave enough. Like, this original anime was back in the day when people smoked in film, and so now they're doing it, and it's,
well, just because it's the future doesn't mean people are going to all of a sudden not do dumb things.
Yeah, and they didn't. It's not like Disney rewriting Cruella de Vil. She had that thing with the whatever you call that, with the cigarette cigarette holder.
Smoking bad. Puppy
Yeah.
killing okay.
exactly. So they rewrite those characters and stuff. They like, the character smoked because it was done in the 90s, and so they still
Penguin's
do.
going to smoke in the new Batman movie.
That he really should. He really should. And but anyway, so highly recommend it to anybody that's seen the show. If you've seen any bad press about it, ignore it. Watch it anyway. I was actually almost disappointed because I heard so many bad things about Cowboy Bebop before I started watching it. The intro scene where they in the casino that you were talking about, my least favorite scene of all of it. I'm thinking, wow, this is going to be horrendous. Powered through it, got into some of the character development, some of the back and forth. It was, everyday life on a ship, kind of like Firefly, and just fell in love with the characters. And there is a lot more character development along the way.
I'm happy to hear that, because I'm not liking these characters a lot so far. And
Right.
if there is more development that I just haven't gotten to yet, I will. The characters, I mean, the setting's cool. Spaceships blowing up is cool. I joke that I'll watch anything with spaceships blowing up, but
Right.
character development and having interesting people to care about is much more interesting.
Yes.
If you don't care why they're shooting at each other, it doesn't matter how cool it looks.
Yep. And one of my biggest complaints, watch our video about V Suicide Squad, Idris Elba, one of the greatest actors of all time, his character, total dick to his daughter in the movie, didn't like him, couldn't care less if he lived or died because he was a dick to his daughter. Jet Black, total opposite, can't remember the actor's name, sorry. But he, in a similar situation, went to prison unjustly, trying to rebuild a relationship with his daughter, goes out of his way, even though he's literally on the other side of the solar system, still attends one of her recitals virtually. And it makes for a really awesome scene. At one point, he was saying, I'd fight the world to be here. And in the background, Spike is literally fighting off like it's people that are coming to kill them so that Jet Black can be at his daughter's recital.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So anyway, highly.
Well, I will give it more of a chance. I really don't have anything else to say about the show because I watched exactly 1.5 episodes of it.
There you go. 1.5. You got to at least get to like
2.7.
Anyway, yep, got to watch it.
All right.
And
Well, stay tuned for more videos. I'm putting the closing lines of the show on here to stop you from talking about Cowboy Bebop anymore. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any more riveting reviews about things that at least one of us kind of likes a little bit.
There you go. And Star Trek.
Live long and prosper.
Whatever this means.
Oh, shit.
I just want to tell you both good luck. We're all counting on you.